tune in.
Welcome to the newest fantasy football show on the net, The Sideline. What I want to do is focus on some of these big matchups, some of these big games happening around the NFL, and how that is going to affect your starters and some of your main guys that you put on the field. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everybody in fantasy football land. Welcome to the newest show, Sidelines, where you're going to get the latest and greatest info to put your best fantasy team on the field every week. With me are the man, Gerard G. Grizzle Grimes, Ava the Aviator ready to take flight, and I'm your host, Jimmy Farris. And what we're going to do here is a little bit different than what you might be used to with a fantasy football show. There's 1,000 different sites on the net that are going to give you, updates and stats and all kinds of different info. What we're going to do is we're going to try to consolidate that, and we're going to use one of the best sources on the net, Yahoo Sports, for our fantasy football information. And we're going to try to give you the best updates, the key stats, and really just try to give you guys the most up-to-date information to help you, put your best team on the field every week. So with no further ado, we're going to jump right into it. We're going to get into those player rankings for you for week 1. Let's start with the quarterbacks. Gerard, the top 3 quarterbacks, Peyton Manning, Phillip Rivers, Tom Brady. How do you feel about that, being an expert and very veteran fantasy player yourself?
Well, in my opinion, Phillip Rivers should be there. One reason only, you lose Vincent Jackson, doing something stupid, you're done.
Yeah, without his top guy, it's going to be
without
hard.
your top guy, I mean, you can rely on Antonio Gates, but you don't know what you get in a running back. You don't know how good he's going to be. LT's gone, even though he was at the end of his career, he was still a goal line threat.
Well, who would you replace him with?
Drew Brees. Are you serious? Yes, I might be a Falcons fan, but I'm going to give credit what credit due. Drew Cool Brees is one of the best quarterbacks in the league by far.
See, I would go with a guy like Aaron Rodgers. He got all his weapons back. I don't think that division is very strong on defense or at corner. I would go with a guy like Aaron Rodgers, but aside from that point, one of the guys that's a mainstay at the top always is going to be Peyton Manning. Do you like that, or how do you feel about him?
Well, actually, Peyton's we all know that. For a man that runs like a giraffe and looks like a duck.
What are you talking about? He should be number 1.
No, Tom Brady's number 1.
No,
hey, look,
Brett Favre is number 1.
Brett Favre is only number 1 in retirements.
What?
He holds the record. That's one of the records he has. How many times he can retire in a season? Brett Favre has 920,000.
I'm a former Patriot, Super Bowl champ right there.
So my ring looks better.
So I'm with you. I love Tom Brady, but I got to go with my head and not my heart on that one. And
yeah,
I'm gonna take Peyton Manning. I mean, Peyton Manning, year in and year out, consistently leads that team. He has them at the top. And I always look at it too, not necessarily from a fantasy standpoint, but also from a player standpoint. So I understand where you're coming from.
So Peyton leads his team and Tom Brady doesn't?
No, absolutely. I mean, I agree with you. Tom Brady does. I'm just saying, stat-wise, Peyton Manning consistently at the top. Now, one guy that we didn't talk about yet, who was at the very top of all the statistics last year, was Matt Schaub down in Houston. Yeah. He's a guy who I think with Andre Johnson, he's got a new rookie running back in Arian Foster. Mm-hmm. He's another guy that you guys could definitely count on to put up big numbers every week. Moving on, let's get to the wide receivers. One of my favorite positions. I'm a former wide receiver. Same guys here. You got Reggie Wayne, Brandon Marshall, and Wes Welker. Personally for me, I love Wes Welker, the underdog. He's going to give you a lot of catches, not give you as many yards, not give you as many touchdowns. But Reggie Wayne and Brandon Marshall are 2 guys that can light up the scoreboard. So where would you go on that?
Andre Johnson, by far. Not only is he a grown-ass man, he's bigger than Wes Welker, who's about the size of my child.
I agree.
One more hit to him, he's probably done.
So tell me this though.
Okay.
Both of you guys. Why is a guy like T.O., for instance?
Alligator man.
Come on. Why is a guy like T.O. not one of the first guys that you're going to look at to start every week? He should be at the top of the board. He had a down year last year, but with what they did in the preseason, right? With what they did in the preseason,
the past 4 years.
No. T.O. led the league in touchdowns in 07 and 08.
And was number 3 in drops.
Yeah, well, I'll give you that.
That's because he plays like a T-Rex.
Point is, I agree with you on Andre Johnson. Larry Fitzgerald is another guy. Larry Fitzgerald is number 6 on this list.
You know why
I don't know about that.
You know why he's so low?
Quarterback.
Where's Kurt Warner?
I agree.
He's not going to do a Brett Favre and come back. He's going to stay at home.
I'm going to tell you what. The Arizona Cardinals are going to be calling Kurt Warner after about week 3.
They
Derek
were calling
Anderson
Kurt
chokes and
Warner
they're
in
starting a rookie.
preseason game 2.
Yeah, they were. You're right about
What
that.
about Chad Ochocinco?
See, I'm not big on Ochocinco. T.O. is going to take so many of his catches.
He's
away.
robbing. He's already conceded to be the number 2 receiver when he was the number 1.
Very much so. He already said he's robbing to that Batman.
Yeah. No number 1 receiver is going to back up and take a number 2.
All right.
Be there all day.
Running backs, of course. The top guy, Chris Johnson. Rounding out, you got Maurice Jones-Drew, Ray Rice, Adrian Peterson, number 4 on that list. I don't know about that.
Well, I would bring him up.
Why?
Because it's Adrian Peterson. He's like one of the best. I know
How many
he does
fumbles did he
fumble.
have? How many fumbles did he have last year?
He is a fumbler,
yeah.
but I'm just saying the fumbles he doesn't.
His hands are this.
That doesn't take away from what he does when he gets in that end zone.
It doesn't.
And I'll say this: Adrian Peterson might be a good guy to start and be at the top of this list early in the season because I'm telling you, Brett Favre coming in off of 2 weeks of training camp,
with no number
5
1.
snaps in the preseason, he's gonna be rusty.
His number 1's gone. His number 2 can't keep his head on the right. His tight end is going to be double.
Run the ball.
Going to be the man.
Run the
They're
ball.
going to have to throw 9 in the box, and Brett Favre is going to throw like 5 interceptions a game.
Here's a question for you: is Chris Johnson going to be able to repeat his performance in 2009?
History says no. I'm going to say no just because I don't think he can. Now that he did what he did last year, everybody's going to key in on him. Name the wide receivers they have.
Right.
The quarterback's Vince Young. We already know 2 pieces of candy. He might flip out and go.
You basically got Nate Washington and Justin Gage as their starting receivers.
Do you really think that I couldn't cover them?
Hey.
There you go. Not in the box. He's done.
They are pros, but really quickly though, you've got your guy, Michael Turner, way down the list.
The burner.
Where do we go? Is he going to bounce back? Horrible year last year.
Let me tell you something about Michael Turner. He's going to bounce back. He probably will be 1,200, 1,300 yards.
I'll go with that. Moving on, let's go to the tight end position. Now, this is a position that in the NFC, I think is real deep. In the AFC, you've got, a couple guys at the top. Obviously, Antonio Gates, Dallas Clark, Vernon Davis, number 3. I don't know. I can't really go with that. I still don't like Alex Smith at quarterback for them. So it's hard for me to see Vernon Davis being number 3 on this list when you've got Jason Witten, Asante Shenko, Selleck, and my guy Cooley all the way down in the teens.
Selleck has a new quarterback.
Right. He's a good quarterback though.
He played 2 games.
He's better than Alex Smith.
He is. I mean, not a lot of people are. Trent Edwards is better than Alex Smith. But he's played 2 games starting as a quarterback.
True.
You also have Vick as a backup who is a runner. He's a runner. He's a running back with an arm. That's all he is. Everybody knows that. I don't care what you say. Chris Cooley, Donovan McNabb is hurt again.
But Donovan McNabb. But to that point, Donovan McNabb is the reason why Brent Selleck is number 6 on this list. Donovan McNabb made that man.
He made him, but he also had a lot that got away from him. We already know McNabb is not as accurate as he used to be.
I agree. He's not. So, tight end, it's kind of up in the air. I mean, like I said,
number 1 is Antonio Gates. Just because he's a receiver.
And Dallas Clark, he's going to get his catches.
He's going to get
Manning. But after that, it's pretty much you got to start who you got, and it could be week to week. You never know. Let's move on.
Tony Gonzalez going to rule, believe
it. Mr. Falcon.
There you go.
You couldn't tell. Falcon over here. Let's move on to the kickers. Should we even talk about the kickers?
Why?
Well,
they do make break the game.
I played on a team, Super Bowl ring, where the kicker made the difference. Super Bowl.
May I say one thing?
Kicker, Adam Vinatieri won about 5 games for us that year, including the Super Bowl.
Quiet and let me talk. If you may not know, I am a Falcons fan.
Here you go.
Last year, we had a kicking problem. So one of our linebackers kicked off and kicked it about 85 yards.
Just bring back Morton.
Kickers.
Bring back Morton Anderson. He's 57 years
Morton
old.
is 95.3.
Kickers are important though. That's
all right.
Only if you want water.
All of that aside, the top kickers. Listen, all that aside, Nate Kading, Steven Gostowski, and Mason Crosby. I love Gostowski. That guy can kick in any weather. He kicks in a hostile environment and wind, rain, snow, sleet up in New England. I think he's money. Just signed a new long-term extension. That's a guy you can always go with, no question about it. Let's get to those defenses.
Yeah.
These are the guys that are going to be responsible for stopping all of those offensive threats we just talked about. Number 1 on the list is, at any surprise, Baltimore. Number 2, San Francisco. I don't think Mike Singletary's got those guys like that.
It's not the 85 Bears.
Right.
This is the 2010 49ers. They were gassed last year. They're going to be gassed this year. Don't believe the hype.
And then Green Bay comes in at number 3.
Green Bay is a top 5 defense, but they do have problems. Their linebackers are great, but they don't cover side to side.
The one thing I will say about Green Bay, guys, is Green Bay, when they get into their conference and their league play, playing in the NFC North, you know, you've got
division.
Right, you've got Matt Stafford at quarterback. Who knows what he's going to put out there. Jay Cutler has still not found any rhythm at all with the Bears. So, you know, I mean, obviously you got Brett Favre. He can put up a lot of numbers. The Vikings offense showed he's put up a lot of numbers.
Team.
But, right, you're also going to get a lot of picks. And, you know, Brett Favre hung some points on that Packers defense last year. So we'll have to see how they pan out early in the season this year. But, you know, for the most part, you know, again, you can kind of go anywhere with the defense. One thing I know, being a former player, is defenses can be really, really up and down. You know, I was on some Falcons teams and some Redskins teams that were week to week. You know, we'd hold the highest scoring offense in the league to 10 points one week, and then the lowest scoring offense, we'd give up 25 the next week. So it's really up in the air. But, you know, obviously Baltimore is going to be up there. We're going to find out real quick on Monday night what they can do against that Jets offense.
Yeah. I mean, they shouldn't be worried. It is Mark Berry Sanchez. So.
Well,
interception machine. You heard it here first. He's going to have more interceptions than touchdowns.
I like Mark Sanchez, but that's neither here nor there.
I'm saying, don't pick him in your fantasy league. He's garbage.
That's it for this week on Sideline. We hope you guys found all this info useful. Best of luck out there this week. We hope that you guys light up the scoreboard for your fantasy team. And we'll be back next week. Any final thoughts, guys? Gerard, what do you got for us?
I would just like to leave y'all with one saying. Friendship is like peeing on yourself. Everybody can see it, but only you can feel the warmth. Have a good week.
Wow. Ava, take flight on this one.
Wow, that was deep. My final word is that T.O. will and will always be one of the best receivers out there, regardless of what Gerard says. Have a great week.
I agree. My final word is simple. Championship. That'll do it for us. For Gerard, Jay Greasy, Ava the Aviator, I'm Jimmy Farris. We'll see you guys next week on Sideline.
Hey, who am I?
Here we go, shawty, here we go. Time to watch my favorite show. Every Saturday I'm tuning in, everybody know Jimmy Fair, what it do? You know that's the host. We on the 50-yard line, 50 more to go. My Sideline TV on repeat. Win the Super Bowl and never leave my fantasy. And if you gotta work, well, you should call off. They not like pre-song, shout it, they don't fall off. Here we go. It's time to tune in. 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 Here we go. Here we go. It's time to tune in. 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 It's time to tune in.